Hi guys, and welcome back to another true crime ASMR case. I don't have any makeup on today because it's currently like really warm in the UK, so yeah, it's just too hot to put makeup on, like, let's be real. So yeah, and also, I apologise if there's any background noise, but obviously I've had to have the windows open because it's so warm, so there will be like noise from outside as well. So this case is absolutely horrible and horrific and inhumane, and I don't understand how. I just don't get it. Like, as a parent, it goes against every parental like thing like that you have. It's just it's just unfathomable. It's not a super long case, but we're gonna discuss it anyway, so let's get into it. So today's case is a case of the butterbox babies. So it's about a murder of newborns. So obviously if you don't wanna listen to that, and you know it's too like horrible for you to hear or listen to, then you can click off this video right now. That is your warning to do so. Before we get on to discussing today's case, so in the spring of 1935, Eva Neforth, I think I'm pronouncing it right, I apologise if not, of Novia Scotia was in love with a man named Walter. Eva found out she was pregnant, and they had to keep it a secret, as being pregnant out of wedlock was frowned upon in Canada at the time. Unmarried and alone, she had heard about the ideal maternity home in East Chester and decided to have a baby there. She arrived at the maternity home just before Christmas, and the owners of the home, Lilia and William Young, took her in. Eva has only been there about a week is disgusting because it's like the whole point of having this place and, you know, having the maternity show is to help women, to help young women who need a place to stay and give birth and then recover. And like the fact that these people are like blackmailing these poor young women who are struggling in these really difficult situations and times, they're making it worse instead of helping them. Like, they should be, like, the whole point of being a doctor and a nurse is to provide care for these women, but they were not, they were doing the opposite, and as if like they weren't already struggling enough. An alternative to pay back the money owed was to be servants at the Youngs until their bill was paid, which meant they would work for free, and some women spent years at that home. Everything at the home had a price. Diapers were sold individually for $12. What? If the infants were to pass, the $20 was charged for the funeral and burial of the babies, which again is disgusting. They are exploiting of these poor young women who are like struggling as it is, and they are getting off on it, exploiting them. All they care about, obviously, this young couple is all they care about, it seems, is money, and the fact that they've got kids themselves is absolutely insane. The babies were put in a wooden box from a crummery, and they were referred to as butterboxes. If the mother could not pay the burial fee, the baby was to be discarded by being burned, or the baby was given to fishermen to throw into the sea. That is disgusting. They are basically saying that if you can't afford it, then we're just gonna chuck your baby into the sea like a fish. Like, I have no words. I just don't understand how some people have no morals. They have no empathy. Nothing. It's disgusting and it's sick. If mothers could not afford to care for their babies, they could pay the Youngs $300, and that ensured a lifetime of care. So generous. They're so generous. God. Women who gave birth elsewhere would also bring their babies to the home to give up for adoption. The babies were given to neighbours to care for until they were adopted. I can't speak. Thank God they were given to someone else, because these couple are evil. Like, thank God they weren't left to them. Some babies did not live long, as the Youngs would get rid of unmarketable babies by feeding them water and molasses, which would cause them to die in a couple of weeks. That is disgusting, I'm sorry, but how can you look at a baby and deem it quote unquote unmarketable? Marketable, I mean, like, I'm sorry, no life, no baby's life is unmarketable, I'm sorry, but their lives are not even up for sale. Like, a baby's life, a person's life should be not worth anything, it should be priceless, because, you know, it's a life at the end of the day, and they're basically killing these poor innocent babies just because they don't see them as being able to get any money from them. Like, it's disgusting. Like, how dare they? Like, how dare they play God and like make out they're helping actually murdering like babies and making them sick. They're also taking babies of the women that want the babies. Like, I get it, they want to give them up for adoption, etc. But this one wanted a baby and she couldn't do anything about it because she had no evidence. So she just had to like leave and basically not know that about a child, not know where a child was, her baby was. And this baby is going to grow up thinking that her mother didn't want her, which is, again, just so heartbreaking, because she's going to grow up thinking that her mum didn't want her and she just got rid of her. And it's just so sad. And her mum's got no way of, you know what I mean? Because back in the day, there wasn't anything really you could do to find them. You don't have like ancestry and stuff like you do now. Between 1928 and 1935, a total of 148 babies had been born at the maternity home. In 1933, Dr. Frank came into the office for Nova Scotia, heard rumours and suspicious theories of baby deaths at the maternity home. He ordered sporadic investigations and made the Youngs hurt a registered nurse. What? The nurse was to see what went on behind closed doors, but because it was just her, she was not at the maternity home 24/7, so she only saw a small part of how the home was run. Eventually, the maternity home was run back to normal. In 1936, the Youngs were charged with manslaughter of Eva and her baby a year after their death. A pathologist testified that they performed a post-mortem exam on Eva and her baby and discovered that Eva had died because she'd contracted an infection for the use of unsterilized obstetric instruments. So they didn't even clean their tools, and when she was given birth, obviously that was used inside of her, and like, this poor woman must have been in absolute agony. Like, not only is she just given birth and lost her baby, but also she's been prodded and poked with unsterilized, unsanitary tools. These people, knowing they used unsanitary tools, literally forbidden her from getting any antibiotics. The baby had died because the forceps Lily used to pull the baby out ripped the occipital bone through which the spinal cord passes, so instantly that would have killed the baby. Like, why is she being so rough with the babies? She's a mother herself. Like, oh my god. How can she not understand? Like, obviously she does, she's just doing it. But like, babies are so delicate. The Youngs denied all this and were so convincing that they were eventually acquitted without any charge. After this, the Youngs were in the public eye's interest, and routine inspections were conducted with no prior notification. The Youngs were prohibited from promoting their adoption services, but that did not stop them. The business continued to grow for the Youngs, and they expanded the home. People who could not legally adopt would go to the maternity home to adopt illegally. When the family to adopt would arrive, they would be a lineup of babies that would fit their criteria. The Youngs would charge the families to adopt anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 per child. In 1947, the public health officials paid a visit to the maternity home to investigate what really was going on, and they were shocked by what they saw. The rooms were